StreamYard Group.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to B Team Paranormal. My name is Ayla. I'm so glad you're here. Today is a very special day. I'm going to share about my niece Raven, who passed away 20 years ago today, May 7th. And before I do that, I just wanted to let you know something else too. Just hold on a sec now. So if you hear this,
Widgets Group. Street Group.
that is my screen reader. As I am visually impaired, I have low vision, and my screen reader helps me to know what's on my screen. It reads some things, but some things it doesn't. So they need to improve on that. But I want to introduce you to my niece, Raven.
StreamYard and I Love It Group. Group.
Raven passed away May 7th, 2006. She had epilepsy and died suddenly. And it was in her favorite prayer spot. Raven was very spiritual and intuitive, and she had a great love for nature and animals, and people. She loved children, and yeah. So Raven had this way with animals. One of her favorites were horses. She just had this gift with horses. I guess you could have kind of called her a horse whisperer, but where we live near Canmore, Alberta, which is close to the mountains, about an hour away in Banff, we had wild horses on our property that would come and go, and they were free to come and go as they wanted. And of course, we had people dumping horses too, but mostly it was the wild horses. And Raven had this way of interacting with them. And they would actually come up to her and they would follow her around. And when she passed away at her prayer spot, where she would smudge and pray and sing and things like that, they were always there with her. So that was pretty awesome. And I honestly didn't know about that prayer spot, that sacred space that she had, until the day of her death. I was not aware of it. The other thing I remember about her is one day in early spring, let's say this a few months before she died, would probably be February, I guess. She was sitting outside on a bench by our door. And speaking of, Raven lived with me and my common law, and she would call him Papa. So she was sitting there on this bench, and I guess she found this dog laying under the bench. And it was a pregnant blue heeler dog. And she was really excited, and she came into the house and she said, Papa, I found this dog. She's pregnant, going to have puppies. And she was heavily pregnant. And she asked Papa if she could let the dog stay in his garage. It was heated till she could have her puppies. And Papa helped her build a really nice little space there for her, for the dog, so she could have her puppies. And a couple days later, she had her puppies. I think she had 8 puppies or something like that. And they were so cute. And yeah, she just had this way with animals. Now, the thing about, she named her dog Lily, and the thing about Lily was Lily would alert Raven before she would have a seizure, because Raven had epilepsy, and she would alert Raven before she would have a seizure, which was really awesome because Raven could sit down or, so she wouldn't fall down and hurt herself, which she did quite a bit. And yeah, we did try to get Lily to be a service dog for Raven, but nobody would train her or certify her because she wasn't purebred, which to me, I don't think that mattered too much. She was doing a really good job of assisting Raven. Yeah, and so the day that Raven died, me and my common-law, we were not home at the time. We were getting ready to do a sweat lodge ceremony, which Raven loved too. And in fact, I'll go to the sweat lodge ceremony we had on the day before she died. Raven came and put her head on my lap, and she said, "Auntie, if anything happens to me, will you take care of Lily?" And I said, "Well, of course I will. And I hope nothing ever happens to you because I love you so much." And she said, "I love you, Auntie." And I said, "I love you too, sweetheart." And then the next day was when she passed away. And my common-law and I were in town because we were going to have another ceremony. And we went to town to get the supplies for the ceremony that was coming up. And nobody could find Raven. We didn't know where she was. We had gotten phone calls and nobody knew where she was. Now, my stepdaughter was at our house with her children, and Lily, Raven's dog, kept running back and forth from where Raven would have her sacred space, where she went to pray, smudge, sing, and be close to nature. And my stepdaughter noticed that Lily was doing that. So then my stepdaughter got in the car and with her children, because they were quite young at the time. And that's when Lily led her to Raven. And Raven had passed away she was kind of on an embankment sitting there and doing her smudging and praying. And she had a seizure and she rolled down the embankment and rolled into the creek. It was about 2 inches, maybe 3 inches, and hit her head on this dead tree that was in the creek. And she drowned in the creek. And of course, my stepdaughter was devastated. Now, I was in the vehicle with my common-law, and I had this feeling that somebody was sitting behind me, like a spirit, felt like a spirit sitting behind me. And then, well, maybe a minute later, the phone rang, and that was my stepdaughter informing my common-law that they had found Raven deceased in the pond. So we had to race home, and we had to call the RCMP and things like that. So that was a very traumatic day for us. Yeah. Now Lily, the dog, Raven's dog, she was at the wake, and it was very beautiful. And the wild horses. Now I had a teepee at the time, about a 12-footer teepee. And we used the teepee for Raven's wake to have the fire in because we would have when someone dies, that we would have a fire going for 3-4 days during the wake. And people were commenting about how beautiful it looked at night with the horses around it and things like that, and the moon, and that was apparently very beautiful. So the day of her funeral, the thing I remember the most is the wild horses were following the hearse to go to the graveyard, and it was almost magical about how the horses were doing that. And when we got to the gravesite, the horses were all there, and Lily was there, and everybody, the family. And it was kind of cloudy, and the elder was doing her prayers, and we were singing and drumming and things like that for Raven because she loved that so much. And all of a sudden, the elder said the sky cleared up, and a big raven came and was flying around us. And so that was quite magical too. And everybody was crying, of course, because we felt that it was Raven's spirit letting us know that she was okay where she was. And we all felt her there. And so that was quite a long day for me. And a couple of days later, Lily was still there, and our neighbors way down there, their horses had gotten out, and they came, and there was a little boy there sitting in the truck of the neighbors. And now this is very interesting because there was a broken basketball by the road, and the little boy had the door open. All of a sudden, Lily grabbed the broken basketball and jumped into the truck where the little boy was. It was like she was led there and, to the truck, which was pretty cool. And we all felt that was Raven telling Lily to go and be with the little boy because he had just lost his dog, and he was really sad when he saw Lily and was crying. And I think that it was Raven's way of showing her love for Lily and the little boy, so he would have a dog in his life. That was just very touching. Yeah, Raven had a way with her, her spirit would just touch others. It was just, she was magical. There's no other way to say it. Yeah. And now she had, Raven was dating my stepson. I know it sounds kind of weird, but they really loved each other. I would put his picture up, but I want to have privacy for my stepson. And now Raven, as I said, loved animals and insects. It didn't matter what it was, a snake or whatever, it didn't matter. And her and her boyfriend were driving down the road in his truck, and Raven all of a sudden said, "Stop, stop, stop. There's a ladybug in the car. We have to take the ladybug out to the ditch and put it in the grass so it won't die." And of course, her boyfriend stopped the truck, and they took the ladybug to the ditch, and it was quite the thing. That's the way Raven was. She was very gifted with animals and and people. She loved children too. She would have made a great mother. Yeah, and of course, her death really affected her boyfriend. In fact, he's still suffering from her death. Um, and I love him very much. Yeah, so that's some of the things that um, I remember about Raven. And she comes around here sometimes, like when I'm doing spirit sessions for people, she will talk on the spirit box. She will light the purple lights up that I have, my devices. And I believe that Raven loved the spirits, and too. I think she had a way with them too. Because I'm sure she's had near-death experiences because of her epilepsy. And yeah, so I'm going to tell you a story now about this picture is before Raven came to live with me. She lived on Garden Bay on Sunshine Coast in British Columbia. It's very beautiful there. And she worked on a ranch, and she had this white horse that she was in charge of and had to take care of and everything. And he was really, really nice. And so after Raven passed away, which the owners of the ranch didn't know at the time, and the owner of the ranch went out to take care of the horses as he usually did, and he went in, and the white horse was gone. Just a white horse, none of the other ones. And the gate was open, which was virtually impossible because the barn was locked. So that was very strange how both doors were open on the horse barn. So he got a phone call that the horse was running down the highway, like somebody was riding it bareback. And I felt that was probably Raven taking a last ride on her favorite horse at the ranch there. And it was pretty cool. But of course, the owners of the ranch didn't understand because they hadn't known yet that Raven had passed away. In fact, the lady of the house at the ranch, she was having her breakfast, and there was a picture of Raven on the wall by the kitchen table where she was having her breakfast. And all of a sudden the picture flew off the wall, scared the lady, and she didn't understand how that happened. But about an hour later, my twin sister, who was Raven's mother, phoned the ranch and told them what had happened. And of course, they were all upset, and because the ranch loved Raven very, very much. In fact, a few months after Raven's death, we all went down there from Alberta to BC, where the ranch is, and we had a big memorial for her. And it was just beautiful, with the white horse there. And her boyfriend got to see where she worked on the ranch and where she lived before she met him. So that was pretty awesome. So that's the story about the white horse. And I'm sure she's riding that wonderful horse now on the other side, because that horse was, getting up there in years. And yeah, So I'm sure they're together just having fun and doing their thing. Yeah. So now, a couple years ago, I met someone by the name of Jesse. And I was talking to him about Raven and how I missed her, and he wrote music. So I said, well, would you write a song for my niece Raven? You know, and he agreed, and he did a beautiful song for her. So in closing, I'm going to play the song for her for you all to listen to.
Group. Street group.
In the heart of Banff, under Alberta sky, lived a girl named Raven with a spirit flying high. She danced with the children in the powwow's light, her laughter in the wind, a beacon in the night. Raven, Raven, in our hearts you soar, in the jingle dances, in the wild horses' roar, in the stories of the elders, in the sweat lodges' heat, in every sunrise, your spirit we meet. She loved all creatures, wild horses are friends. They gather at her special place where the creek bends. Every dawn and twilight by the water she'd pray, until one tragic May she was swept away. Raven, Raven, in the mountains you roam, in the whispers of the forest, in the creek's gentle foam, in the warmth of the fire, in the teepee's glow, in the heart of the wilderness, your love we know. Raven, it was my day, just been my family, with a block of May. She'd only sat the rap, sat the brace stand on in, until you won the sight, you bow in tight. When I'm gathered life to wishing, you'll sky a trusted bay. It was me who was shot in half and night, so sway. And if I'd been the key, but we're in a view so late on now.
Complimentary.
That was so beautiful, that song. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jesse. If you're watching this, Jesse, it's been a while since we talked, and I hope you're okay. I know that you weren't feeling too good here last time I talked to you. And if you are in the spirit world, just know that Raven is hopefully there with you, and you're dancing the powwows and having a good old time. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming today, and you have yourselves a real blessed day. I love you all. Take care.
Group. End recording.